What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Here For You podcast. I'm hosted here with Matthew Fernando
Yeah.
Timler.
You got it right.
Yep. We look alike, but it's only one of our birthdays. Happy birthday, Matt.
Oh, thanks,
Yeah.
buddy.
How's the midlife crisis going? You good?
Pretty deep in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've been 31 for all of like 13 hours now. Has anything felt different?
I feel like it's actually less than 13 hours because I think I was born at, I don't know what time I was born. I think it was like 4 a.m.
Right. But technically, a birthday is like the day starts you're born, right? So like the birthday.
Pretty sure it starts at the exact hour.
You sound like one of those astrology girls. I was born at this time on this day, so my moon was at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not you.
Yeah, no.
That's not you. So you don't feel any different. You don't have like
2 feet in the grave now instead of one.
Instead of one?
Woke up and my whole back hurt.
Yeah.
Both knees popped at the same time.
Yeah. So like when does that start for you? Like when
Immediately once you turn 30.
Okay, so 30 is like the number where your body just starts tanking.
31, it just doubles down.
Dang it. See, because I talked to a lady once, and she was telling me, she's like, 20s is your fun era. You know, you're young, you can recover from hangovers, you can, go out and have fun and all that. She's like, but 30s are kind of cool because, like, even though that slows down, like your adult money starts coming in. It's like right before you start having kids. Well, you already got the kids thing down. For everyone that doesn't know, he's got like 3 kids. Not like you have 3 kids that we know of right now. There might be more on the way. We don't know. We'll get into that later. But yeah, the way she described it to me is 30s was fun just because you have more of that stability, even if you can't drink and then get up 3 hours later and go do it again. So
Yeah.
But luckily you take care of yourself, so you don't. You could be worse. You could be like out of shape. I'm sure your back pain would be way worse.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I was joking about all the limbs hurting and everything, but
so that's
felt like it. I wanted to add to your compliment of me getting older.
So would you say you're aging like fine wine or expired yogurt?
Definitely yogurt.
Yogurt?
Yep. Yeah. I'm not getting any finer by the day. That's for sure. And actually, I feel like I've packed on a couple pounds, so I feel like I'm curdling.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's part of being a dad, right? Like you can't help it. Like your kids want chicken nuggies, like you're trying to be healthy. Well, now you're eating McDonald's. Everything under the sun. They just I think it'd be really funny to let people know how you order McDonald's when you're on your carnivore diet. You want to share a little bit about how that goes?
Yeah, I just order the patties and the bacon, and I go up to the drive-thru and I say, "Hey, can I get the burger without the bun or anything else on it?" And they generally get utterly confused as to why I don't want a bun. And sometimes I have to say, you know what? Screw it. Just give me the whole burger and don't put anything on it, please. And then I take the bun and I throw it to them.
Yeah. So my fiance Kirsten, right? She's a pescatarian, so she only eats like fish food, right? She can't eat like red meats, chicken and stuff. And it's not a hassle to me, but it's always like another like caveat to ordering out. So I can only imagine the amount of just stress you probably cause to your wife when you're going out and you're like, can I get this and that? She's probably in the back like, man, they're going to mess us up. And we're going to have to go back to the drive-thru. And like, were you that picky when you did all that?
I really didn't care. Honestly, if they messed, that's why I said like once they started to get confused and I understood that their IQ was like 60, then I was like, okay.
Hey, now. All right. Give them a little more credit than that. All right. I used to work in the fast
65.
food industry. All right. So let's take a turn here. All right. You've been on this planet for 31 years.
Yep.
You've probably done a lot of dumb stuff.
Yep.
I mean, I still even witness you do dumb stuff to this day.
Daily.
So what would you say is the dumbest thing you've ever done that is appropriate enough for being on air?
I feel like anything's appropriate, but do you really want me to go down this rabbit hole?
Give us the most PG terrible decision you've ever made.
Probably. There's so many, Zach. I can't.
Right,
yeah, I'll give you one. I believe I was about 10. My uncle looked me straight in the face and said, "Do not throw that sheet of plywood onto the fire," because we had just remodeled the whole kitchen and we had this huge fire going on in the backyard and it was really windy out. And he's like, "You're going to hurt yourself. Don't do that." And he said it like 20 times. And I threw it on there. And it didn't even make it to the fire. The wind caught the corner. It smashed me in my face and it gashed me like all the way through, and you could like see my tooth. And it was
pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, I thought it was. I tried to cry, but he looked at me and said, "If you cry, I'm throwing you in the fire," because I told you not to do that.
And he probably meant it, right?
Oh, for sure. Actually, honestly, if you knew my uncle, yeah, he meant it.
Oh no.
So, I didn't cry.
Okay.
And I also didn't know that I had a chunk of wood still stuck in there that was like lodged up in there. My mom came home and I had a paper towel like just sitting on it so she couldn't see it, but
No.
like blood was seeping through. Yeah, he told me to wash it out and he's like, sit on the couch. So she gets home and then she went ballistic. And then
yeah.
I got dragged into this like emergency room. And it took, I think, 6 nurses to hold me down where they were spraying salt water in there. I felt like I physically got restrained with like tie downs, and I had all these nurses on top of me while they were spraying salt water and putting shots in.
And how old were you again?
Like 10.
Oh my gosh.
I remember it vividly. So
one of your boys is coming up on 10 soon, right? In a few
he's
years?
7.
Yeah.
He's gonna be.
So does that give you any like worries? You're like,
We actually just talked about this story this morning at the gym. That's why it's fresh in my mind.
So does that scare you at all? You're like, oh, my kids are gonna do some dumb stuff, man, because after all, they're your kids, right?
I'm hoping that they only do half as much as I did.
Yeah,
I'm hoping that we get away with. I mean, he did go to the children's hospital for cracking his skull open already, so like that, and that was pretty stupid what he did.
I mean, okay. Long story short, park bench, and they made the park bench very poorly. Okay, he fell off.
No,
okay? Yeah.
Sticking your hands and feet inside of your shirt had nothing to do with it.
So from the story that I recall, he put his hands and feet in his shirt, right? That's a normal kid thing to do. Yep. So you're telling me a kid can't sit on a bench
rock back and forth
with his shirt and everything all over his legs. That's not safe anymore. What is? So I don't blame the kid at all.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they should have. You're right. Maybe they should have had padding down.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have concrete below park benches.
No,
apparently.
On a public park bench, ridiculous.
Yeah, that's BS.
They do that for the homeless, right? To make them less comfortable.
Did not know that actually.
No, I'm just kidding.
It actually sounds legit though.
No, that's not a real thing. I do want to talk to you a little bit about, obviously 31 years, there's a lot of phases in there, right? You've come to your dressing, decently well phase where, you look nice. But why don't you tell us about one of the phases you went through where you look back on and you go, what the hell was I thinking when you're dressing yourself? You ever have one of those? You like the snapback kids back in high school, or?
I don't know. I think
Ears pierced?
I don't try to spend too much time thinking about it because I feel like every phase was necessary in my growth.
Yeah.
So I don't really regret any of it. But I will say the picture in my son's room of my senior picture, I really don't like seeing that.
Wait. Let's unwrap that a little bit. Why is your picture of your senior year in your son's room?
My mom gave it to him and he brought it home and he was like, I want this up in my bedroom. And I was like, Daddy doesn't want that.
Yeah.
And he said, I really want it, Dad. Please, I want to look at you. And I was like, proud dad moment, but I don't like looking at myself.
If that wasn't your kid, that'd be very creepy.
Yeah, 100%.
What a way to say he looks up to you. So
yeah,
that's cool.
Hopefully not that version of me. Hopefully it's a totally different version.
He's probably gonna go to high school and be like some spinoff of that.
Hopefully not.
Yeah.
That's definitely not gonna be.
Would you let your kids get their ears pierced?
Yeah,
obviously your daughter, but your boys.
Yeah, why not?
Oh, okay. My dad took the opposite stance, and I grew up and I was like, hey, thanks for not letting me do that.
Well, I grew out of it.
Yeah.
I did it because it was the cool thing to do, and then that lasted a couple years.
Yeah, I always thought that was the coolest thing. But then, I had one of my friends who also grew up in a similar environment where their dad was like, no, don't do that. So then as we both proceeded and we saw a bunch of people get their ears pierced, we kind of were like, yeah, you're right, probably.
I'm going to clarify something. My dad did not want it to happen.
Yeah, I imagine Mark. Yeah, knowing Mark now.
Very much was that's a really stupid idea.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, this ear got pierced by a nail and a hammer at a drunken party. So.
Yeah, what a way to say that I'm going to be in the trade someday.
Yeah.
Right? That's a perfect segue of your life. Oh, man. I had a bunch of other questions on here that are about being old, but I feel like you're going to get enough of that throughout the day. So.
That's fine.
All right. So for people that don't know, everybody that's listening, hopefully they already know, you own a contracting company, electrical contracting. So you've been in the trades for a very long time.
Wow.
So you probably had, okay, that wasn't an old joke. Okay, you've been around doing stuff.
Says he's done with the old jokes.
Okay.
Cracks one right away.
Okay, so from what you told me, you used to do electrical stuff with your dad when you were, what, a teenager?
Even younger, probably. Like I did side jobs with them anywhere from like 10.
Yeah.
10 and on.
Okay.
I think I was in a scissors lift as young as 8.
Okay. Yeah, so a long time.
Yeah.
What's if you had to pick one time where you had the golden opportunity but you completely fumbled it, what would it be? Great opportunity.
In the trades?
You just screwed it up.
As a business owner or just like in the trades period?
In your life. And it can't be about women. I mean, we all got stories about, bags we fumbled.
No, I mean, you straight up said in the trades.
Oh, did I?
Well, I don't know. You said I've been in the trades for a while, so I was equating it to like, what's a fumble that I did in the trades?
Yeah, like like climbing into a ceiling that has just like blank tiles and you just fell through because you didn't realize you weighed more than the tiles could hold you.
I haven't had that happen.
Oh, really? That didn't happen at our office?
It didn't fumble. That was my butt. They like took them down. I didn't fall through the whole thing.
I'd consider that a fumble.
I just couldn't fit through the hole. I was just too big. I didn't fall completely through the ceiling. I don't know. I mean, there's a world of missed opportunities. I just try not to ponder on them. Now you have me thinking about.
You want to come back?
Sure.
All right, let's come back to that one. Okay. I know this is one that you'll definitely have queued up. Tell me about something that you had on your list to do. You never did it in your last 31 years. And it can't be the car in the shop that you bought.
Well, I was going to say the Carmi Ghia. That's another car that I have sitting at my dad's house that I haven't touched.
So you just buy a bunch of cars and then
that was passed down from my grandpa.
Okay.
It's like a refurbishment. The main reason I haven't done anything with that is because I don't have the capabilities. You can't buy quarter panels for it. You have to cut and weld everything. So
yeah,
I haven't wanted to mess it up.
Sure. So is there anything that is kind of like happened in your life where it's like, you always told yourself you're going to do it, but you kind of just didn't have the time to get around to it?
Generally, any of those things in life, I've just decided I no longer wanted it.
Yeah.
If I truly want to, like, I actually go and do it. But if I just accept the fact that if I didn't do it, I probably didn't want it. So
that's fair.
I'm just blatantly honest. There's nothing that I look back and is like, oh, I really, really wanted to do that. And now I didn't do it. It's been, oh, I really, really wanted to do that. And then I learned something about it and I didn't want to do it anymore. Or I wasn't as passionate. So I just opted not to do it.
Sure. All right. Spin off of that then. What's something that you learned how to do or you learned about or you did that now you look back on it was a total waste of time? I'll give you a perfect example.
Yeah.
When I first went to college, I was going to go for like some kind of literature degree, right? So I was like into like writing. I was like into poetry and all that stuff. I look back on it now. If I had to continue to do that, totally useless. I would have been so poor on the side of the street. It was my counselor that talked me out of it. He looked up the top 10 least earning degrees. He's like, yeah, don't do this. I was like, okay.
I would rebuttal on that and state that Michelangelo or any of those other people that were, I don't know any famous writers, but there is plenty of books that are made every single day that make multimillionaires. So,
I mean, yeah,
I would venture to say that just because you go into an industry does not necessarily mean that you're capped at any sort of revenue level. But to touch on what
I was
you're
also
saying,
very bad at it though, so like it wasn't going to work out.
But you learned something about yourself. I think, again, I'm going to answer your question on anything that I have done that I've immediately been like, yeah, I'm probably not going to do that. I've actually used it at a different place in my life. Like I've hated geometry and all of a sudden I'm using it in electrical. Like I hated psychology and I use it to analyze people and get an understanding of their tone and context. Like there's certain things where I was like headed on a path. Like I wanted to be a psychologist. That probably shocks you that I'd ever want to interact with people. I also wanted to be a writer. just like you.
Mhm.
I suck at writing. Like
Terrible. Yeah.
probably one of the, I make you look good, like a rock star.
Right
So,
on.
but
Catch
my point
next
being,
week poetry for our poem session.
uh,
Wow, that made no sense. Catch next week's podcast for our poetry session. Clip that part out. Thanks. catch next week's poetry. That's crazy.
but yeah, I don't think there's anything that I would say that I just wasted time on, because
Really?
I've just tried to leverage it or use it some other place in my life, or I've made a realization that that happened and it made me do this, which actually
Yeah.
in turn made me do this. And
I'll give you another example. I got really good at Call of Duty for a while.
yeah,
Total waste of time.
did you enjoy it?
I mean, yeah, but it didn't do anything for me.
You met certain friends that you still talk to this day.
Not really.
I don't know. I feel like your hand-eye coordination improved from it.
I mean, yeah.
See,
but-
you're just in a negative mindset, dude.
No,
I'm
no,
trying
it's
to point out all these positives that are coming from everything that you just did.
I'm just trying to prove a point. There's got to be something in your
there's
life that
not.
you've done.
I swear to you, there isn't. Because like I look at it, that's my outlook on life. Is even all the time that I spent on Halo when I was younger, and I spent stupid amounts like, hey, I want to be a streamer on this.
Yeah.
I realized I don't want to be that. My hand-eye and coordination got a little bit better. I learned about games and like what I actually do and do not like about games.
Yeah.
I took something valuable from it. So I just have the perspective of everything that you do. There's something valuable in it. Take it, grab onto it, and stop focusing on the shit that you didn't like about it.
All right. Fine. Last one. Last one here. Perfect example. I used to sleep a lot.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
Yeah, and you probably have added years to your life from it.
No, that's not true.
Yeah, it is.
At some point, isn't more sleep worse for you?
No.
Okay. You know what? We're moving on. Okay. All right. Let's go back. Let's go back to the screw up, right?
Yeah.
But let's change the question.
Yep.
What's your most Florida man moment? A moment in your life where you did something that could have easily been a headline as a Florida man.
I think when I got in trouble for dealing marijuana.
That's all stipulation, by the way. It didn't
No,
actually
it's not.
happen.
I did. I
Oh, yeah,
caught
you
charges for
You
it.
caught a case for that. Okay,
Yeah.
good. Yeah. So that is on the table. Okay. So no, what is it called? RICO when you get double trial? No, it's not RICO.
I did
Edit
my
that part out.
probation.
That's not RICO. Double jeopardy. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, no double jeopardy. But
Yeah, no.
so, okay, in the PG terms, what happened?
I liked smoking weed.
Okay,
And
that's
I
not
thought
very
it was-
PG.
I thought it was a really good idea that I wouldn't have to pay for it. And
Sure.
I just
You have your
started
cake
dealing
and
it
eat it
all the
too.
time. So that's what happened.
That's okay. If it was like bath salts, it'd be more Florida man. But
If you want me to go deeper, I will.
no, we'll leave it there. All right, we'll leave it there. Ay, 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 ay. Your mother's gonna watch this. You know that?
Yeah, she knows everything. She had to live through that.
That poor woman.
That's why I
All
said
right.
if my son does half of the stuff that I did, I'll be only half.
Yeah, what are you gonna do if your son comes home and goes, "Dad, I'm dealing dope"? Okay, nobody talks like
Maybe
that.
I'll
What
give
do
him
you-
advice.
give him advice.
I'm kidding.
Yeah,
That's-
would you be an associate to a crime?
I have no idea.
I think you
I
would be.
don't honestly. That's something that I don't want to think about the outlook of and how to
Yeah.
handle it, because I'd rather just deal with it in the moment. And
Sure.
I'm not gonna be. I don't know how I deal with it. Maybe I'd actually just physically turn him in.
I don't think you
Like
would.
knowing
Knowing you wouldn't turn your kid in. There's
I
no
don't know,
way.
dude. I'm pretty big on hard life lessons, and I'd rather him
Yeah.
learn the lesson now in like a created environment. And I know he's only gonna catch a certain amount of charge because I burned the rest of the shit, and he's only gonna catch a class H felony.
Burn the rest of the shit, right?
Like
Yeah,
I'm just
gotcha.
saying, I'd probably control the environment in which he'd have severe consequences, but like
Mhm.
I would make sure that he got some level and learned his lesson.
All right, that's fair. So, all right, just a couple more things I want to know.
Yeah.
If your life just went a little bit differently,
Yeah.
what do you think you'd be doing right now?
I mean, there's a lot of avenues.
Mhm.
I always pictured myself owning like restaurants and bars because like that's the way that I always envisioned business. And
Yeah, some real mafia stuff, you know?
I mean, there was a part of me that wanted to be part of the mafia at one point. So like there's that. There's a lot of things that could have went a little bit different. I mean, if I wouldn't have got caught doing what I was doing when I was younger, I
Right.
probably would have continued down that path, got deeper in the rabbit hole, and potentially I could have been like I could be stuck in prison for years.
Yeah,
And
kind
it's
of
like-
like Johnny Depp in his movie Blow.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it could have been that.
Yeah.
Never.
You ever watched that movie?
Yeah. I
Crazy
loved
movie.
that movie.
Yeah.
So
Inspirational.
it potentially was back in the day.
That's terrible. All right. Yeah. We're getting canceled. That's cool. But so if you did something differently, you would have just been a drug dealer.
No, I just meant like that's one possibility. I
Sure.
could have been a psychologist, like if I would have pursued different avenues. I mean,
Were you ever thinking about that, like in college and stuff? You're
yeah,
like,
actually, that's what my major originally was to be a psychology major.
That's
And
cool.
then when I dove deeper into it, I had a realization I really liked the interaction of people, and I would have to now quantify everybody as like patient 00187, and
Yep.
I couldn't develop a relationship. And like I liked that relationship
Well, I
piece.
mean, your patient identification number doesn't mean they don't have a name.
No, but then I have to psychoanalyze everything they're saying. I can't
Yeah.
just have this honest conversation. Like I have to prescribe either a medication or some sort of thing that they should be
Yeah.
doing off to the side as a more healthy emotional environment.
God, I can't imagine if I walked in for therapy and saw you, I'd be like, oh my God.
My life was at rock bottom, I thought.
I come in here
It
talking
just got
about my
worse.
problems. This guy's like, you need to lift weights.
You're not doing enough.
Yeah, honestly. No, I think he'd be an okay psychologist.
I don't know, dude. There's been some questionable points in my life that I've had to deal with. Certain
Yeah,
instances
so
that
you'd be relatable.
let's put it this way.
Yeah.
I don't think I would handle somebody's like suicide request with like, hey, here's a.
Yeah.
I wouldn't handle it the way that I probably should.
Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be a lot more harsh. Be like,
Yeah. Shit.
yeah, I'm not gonna say it. We'll probably get canceled if I say what I'm thinking. So
We should have been canceled like a long time ago. Anyways, okay, all right. So you have young boys, right?
yep,
They're not quite in their teens yet, but obviously they look up to you, right? You're a good role model, good father figure for them.
try to be.
But if you were 15 again and your 15-year-old self met you, what do you think their impression would be?
Of me,
Yeah.
I would have judged me.
Yeah.
I would have, and I know it's crazy that you just brought this up because I literally have been thinking about this. I think part of 15-year-old me would have been impressed by me, but I also, at 15 years old, was never impressed by anything. And I always
Right.
felt that I could be doing something better and I could be analyzing, critiquing, building, growing it.
Yeah.
So I think as a 15-year-old, I would have sat down and been like, hey, here's where you're fucking up. And this is what you need to be doing different in
Yeah.
your life. So
15-year-olds, man, trying to take over the world, dude. Like everything's small and stupid to them, you know?
yeah, I mean,
Because I pondered on that question too, and I was like, man, 15-year-old me was such a hater, just a hater
yep.
to the core. I would have hated myself, and like, there's literally no reason, no rhyme, no
Nope.
reason. You're just like, oh, dude, you're not like some big billionaire balling, dude.
Yep.
You loser.
Yep.
Dude,
I mean, like,
I'm gonna be a big poet writer, dude. Make billions, man. That's what 15-year-old me would have been like.
yeah,
Now let me go do a bunch of stuff that's not gonna help me do any of that. 15-year-old me, yeah. My mom can relate to that.
oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I guarantee mine can too.
Yeah. If you had to tell yourself, 15-year-old you, anything, what would you tell yourself?
I've been pretty happy with the journey, so I probably wouldn't give him any advice, to be honest. It would be,
There's not one thing you could be like, hey man, like
yeah,
keep
I
doing
mean,
you.
there's
but
a million
like,
things, but
watch out for
I know everything that happened brought me to where I am today. So I wouldn't want that to change, because then like I feel like one little change can cascade everything in your life. And I know for a fact, even if I did give that boy advice, he wouldn't listen.
You said boy very strongly. You don't use that word very often, do you?
No.
Okay, good. Just checking.
Yeah, he
Until that boy.
He wouldn't listen. He wouldn't listen at all.
Whoa.
Honestly, the only way he'd probably listen to me is if I went and beat his ass, and then he still would be like,
Yeah.
"You got lucky, bitch."
Yeah.
Like,
So you're telling me you wouldn't tell 15-year-old you
No.
to go invest in Bitcoin?
No.
Really?
no, because think about how much that's gonna change. Like everything, you don't even know that it's gonna succeed. The second that I invest in
Yeah.
it, I used to own a bunch
Butterfly
of Bitcoin
effect.
because of the stuff that I did on the side.
Okay. Yeah. We don't need to go on that.
It's like,
I'm gonna go down that rabbit hole. So there's this final thoughts thing, yada yada, but I don't want to do final thoughts.
You just want to close it, shut the book, or
no? I have more questions.
Okay, let's go.
Way more questions. At what age did you start balding?
About 12.
12? Really?
Yeah, that's when my widow's peak started setting.
Okay, all right. What's the story when you first realized?
Grew my hair out. Yeah, everybody's seen the pictures of like the big mop head. I had like a mini beginning life crisis and was like, oh fuck, I can't be going bald, dude. Like, and I remember like looking in the mirror.
Life crisis. That's crazy.
I do. I seriously remember like freaking out about it, like making the realization. And then like, I even remember some people in school caught on to it. There's like 3 particular people I can remember in my head were like, oh, you have a widow's peak, bro.
So there were people like, chirping in your ear.
Yeah. And I was like, oh. And I feel like that's when I got over the fact also at the same time, like after I grew it out and I was like, yeah, there's no saving this. That's when it finally just set in and I was like, whatever, I'm going to take it as it is.
And that's what led you to the gym, right? You're like, if I'm going to be bald and have a beard.
No, my uncle led me to the gym at 12. No.
Yeah, that story sounds strange.
What?
My uncle led me to the gym when I was 12.
He was a semi-pro bodybuilder, and I was in wrestling at the time, and he was like,
thanks for clarifying.
I don't know. He was all about working out all the time, so then he wanted to get me in it.
Oh, man. Sorry. Yeah. So when did you start growing facial hair then?
That's been more recent. Because I've always been super patchy. I'm still a little bit patchy, like here. And
but you're just darker than most people. Do you have dark hair?
Did I know that I had dark facial hair?
Do you like normal hair? Like when you grew it out, was it dark?
It was brown.
Yeah.
And honestly,
your facial hair looks black. I mean, a little salt and pepper on the brows right now, but am I crazy?
Maybe
salt and pepper on the brows. It's right there.
I can't believe that he's doing this to me now live.
No, dude, salt and pepper is good.
He's tortured me,
dude. Women.
No, I don't care.
You want to hear the story about when I went bald?
Absolutely.
Okay. Because it's a great story. It's a great story.
Okay, fire away.
It was one of those when you wake up one day and you're just like, oh my God, no way. Mm-hmm. So I was in boot camp, dude. I was 21 years old. I was in the firing range. One of the range guys, I went to go pick down some brass from shooting. And he's looking down on me. He goes, hey, how old are you? I looked up. I was like, I'm 21, sir. He's like, damn, fucking balding already? I'm like, what is this guy talking about? And I had to go back and verify with other people. They're like, because, I had longer hair my whole life. Like, not as long, but long and shaggy, whatever. But in boot camp, they shave all your hair off. And they shave it every other week or so, right? So then that's where you can notice the bald spot because there's nothing covering it up anymore.
Yeah.
And then that's when I realized, I was like, damn. And then I proceeded with the comb over for years after. It wasn't until till I got out and it was like 2022, I started shaving my head. And then I look at pictures of me with my widow's peak and you can see her from the side. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing, man?
I remember that in high school.
Yeah.
Like I'd be like gelling my hair and like I'd have them specifically like flatten it like right here
to
with
make it look like a line.
Yeah.
No way.
So like I tried to hide it as long as I could. And once I finally just accepted it, it was way better.
Yeah. I can't believe. So when I met my fiance, I had hair, and she must be really blind. She wears glasses now, but she wasn't back then. Part of me thinks I catfished her.
I don't know. I feel like you're a genuine human being, and you two are a good match.
No. Forget all that. The point is, the audacity is she wouldn't tell me like, "Hey man, you gotta let that shit go." That's crazy.
I think she was just trying to protect you.
Probably, yeah.
She was trying.
She's the type of person to be like, yeah, whatever you're doing is cool. But
yeah,
I could have used somebody to be like, hey man, she'll just let it go.
Should have just met me a couple of years sooner. I'd have been like, hey,
time to let it go.
Yeah, here's a razor.
Did I have hair when I started here? I feel like I did.
No, you didn't.
No, I didn't.
You've accepted the baldness since I've known you.
There's one time I was on a boat. This is this is gotta be so boring. But one time I was on a boat and with the wind going and it's a little feather. I got a picture of it too. Terrible, awful. I guess that could be classified as a fashion thing from back in the day that, maybe we weren't proud of.
Sure. I think it was a life lesson.
All right.
My perspective is always different.
Yeah. Well, happy birthday to you again.
Yeah, I feel it.
Sorry that there's Really nothing to celebrate except like holding on to your youth, I guess.
Nah.
Are you having a cheat day today for your birthday? No. Lame.
Kinda. I mean,
It's pretty gross for you. I mean, it's normal for a guy like me, but you?
I didn't eat the fries though.
It's probably
I kind of did cheat my whole vacation though. So like
You went to Chicago. That's not a vacation.
that was for my kids. It was a pretty good time. So
We're gonna get a lot of hate mail now. What do you mean Chicago's not a vacation?
I mean, it's not.
Chicago's where you go when you're trying to get it somewhere else.
I mean, I think I would never go to Chicago on my own, but for my family to experience it, it's a cool experience. So that's about it.
We at 31 now?
Oh, we're past. We're at like 33 probably. Look at that. I didn't even look at my watch for that. That was just internal time clock. Okay.
Internal. That's crazy. You
Well,
sound
to
more
be
like an
external?
astrology woman more and more that we talk.
Hey,
My biological clock says
I don't even
this.
know what I am. Oh, I'm an Aries. I have a tattoo of it.
We're
wanna
not
see
talking.
that?
We're not talking about this. All right.
Yeah, I have a tattoo of my Aries symbol right here.
All right. Thanks for checking out this birthday podcast with Matthew Hernandez.
For the record, it's Matthew Horace Ferdinand Timler.
MFT. Thanks for coming by. We'll catch you on the next one.
Okay, I'm trying to like start this thing.
Hit him with the what's up, everybody. Welcome back to the Here For You podcast. Today's my birthday.
I'm
Come
not
on,
doing that.
give it to him.
No, I'm not doing
Keep that in there.
that. Okay.
How you feel about singing? You a good singer?
No.
No,
I
I'm not a
am
good singer.
awful, and I
So-
will probably break this mic.
So
but
if I had to ask you to sum up your entire life in one song, you wouldn't be able to make something up for us?
I could attempt, but
No.
it's gonna have a lot of pitch and tone problems.
Okay,
and
I mean, there's
it may not be.
auto-tune.
I don't think they
Hey,
have enough
Valerie,
auto tune for
Hey,
that.
you
but
can auto-tune these recordings, right? She said no.
Do we have like music?
No.
And do I need to like just think of this on the fly, like some sort of rap or?
Matthew is bald as a cashew. Matthew.
Sounds like
don't
you'd do a
let him
better job.
catch you in the arms of a Matthew. May you find your peace.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get you a
Yo,
song.
do you think I'm making it onto a singing like American Idol?
Yes, I think honestly, I think you should definitely sign up.